Okay, we're going to go over some basics like we've been doing the last few weeks, but a different set of basics. Today we're going to go over how to tune. So go ahead and grab your ukulele. Just a reminder that the strings on most ukuleles, basically everything but a baritone ukulele, and I don't believe any of us have a baritone ukulele, will be tuned to G, C, E, A. Good children eat apples is how we been teaching the kids, or asparagus, which they don't seem to like as much as apples. Either way, G, C, E, A. As a reminder, your ukulele may have and is more likely to have a high G string. Mine has a low G string. There is no difference between them other than what octave it is. So this is the note that my G string makes, and this is probably the note your G string makes. So yours probably sounds like this. And mine is a low G string. The low gives it just a little bit more body and a little bit more of a fuller sound, but also sounds a little less like a ukulele and a little more like other stringed instruments too. So for that distinctive ukulele sound, you stick with the high E on the, or high G on the top. But that's switchable. So if you decide you want to go back and forth, you can absolutely do that. You may discover that the nut right here is just a little too thin if you try switching to a low G from a high G, and you can take it to any guitar shop and they will do a quick little adjustment for you. Or if you've got a nail file, you can do that too, but be careful, you can mess up a nut pretty good. Actually, as long as we're talking about that, let's go ahead and just refresh ourselves on all of the different parts of a ukulele. Okay, we have the top. This is the top right here, this piece of wood. And the top is the most important part for making sound. It is the soundboard. It's the equivalent of the cone for a speaker. It is the part that actually reverberates. Then you have the sides and the back. They're generally considered a lot less important in terms of contributing to the tone of an instrument, but still important. So you'll often find instruments that will have what's called a solid top, meaning it's not made from laminate wood where they take pieces and glue them together, and laminate backs and sides. That's sort of a thing you'll find often. You'll find some ukuleles like this one that are made from entirely solid wood. I think this is mango. I think that's what this is made out of. Okay, our other parts. We have our bridge right here. The bridge is that black wooden piece that's on here. The bridge is what reverberates the top. And then sitting in the bridge will be a white saddle. Usually that saddle is made of either bone or some sort of synthetic bone-like material that's used now in highly inexpensive ukuleles. It might be plastic, but will be something like that. And the strings sit on that. And if you notice it, actually you'll see that they're slightly... Let's see if we can get it good enough. Do you see that? Yeah, there you go. On my saddle. Do you see how it's not exactly straight? That it kind of juts out at different spots? And that's to compensate for the different strings' width and make sure that they are tuned properly as they go up and down here. Okay, then we have the neck of the ukulele. We have the body of the ukulele. We have the head, or the headstock of the ukulele. Oftentimes your headstock will have a veneer on top of it, like this one does. Not always. You have these, which are usually called tuning machines. If you have true pegs, and I think Ray, his original ukulele had true pegs, and you can call those tuning pegs, but otherwise they are tuning machines. We have the nut, this white piece here that goes along with the saddle, also usually made from either bone or some sort of synthetic bone or sometimes plastic. Okay, I think those are all of the pieces on our ukulele. I don't think I skipped anything. There's things like binding that go around the edge that bind the top to the sides, pieces like that, but those are less significant for us. Okay, so when we are... Any questions on that before we keep going? Linda, you look like you're going to say something. Yeah. I can't hear you for some reason.
Now can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay. That thing on the bottom that you said this part, whoops, where's my camera? Where the string's attached that's uneven.
The white part on my ukulele? Yeah, it's called a saddle.
Oh, I see how it's uneven. I don't see how it's uneven.
Yours may not be uneven. It may just be a straight piece. Mine is uneven. It's called a compensated saddle, meaning it's compensating for the thickness of the strings.
Just curious.
Variations that you get in various ukuleles and manufacturers and techniques and
I was just curious.
yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about tuning. So one of the most common mistakes, well, a few different common mistakes that people make when tuning. The first is to not pluck it enough when you're tuning. You'll sort of, and then you'll adjust and let it ring. You really want to have that plucking going pretty constantly, like this, while you're tuning. And then the other mistake to make, so we've got sharp and flat. Are we all clear on what that is? Sharp is a little higher than the note we want, and flat is a little lower than the note we want. And since we're talking strings that are attached to tuning machines, when it's sharp, it means there's too much tension, and when it's flat, it means there's not enough tension, right? So to make a note go higher, to sharpen it, we tighten it, we make it increase the tension. To make it go flat, we loosen it. So if you've got a note that is too sharp, your instinct is to bring it just down to the spot so it's in tune. But actually what we want to do is we want to, if a note's too sharp, we want to take it so, tune it down so it's below the note we want, and then we want to come back up. And if you make it too sharp again, come back down and then bring it back up. What happens is if you are too sharp and you just bring it down a little bit, lower it a little bit, sometimes it can get just a little caught in the nut or just a little caught on the saddle or in some of the other pressure points, depending on how your strings are attached back here. And it can be the perfect note for that moment, and then a second later after you pluck it, it drops down too loose. So you almost always with a stringed instrument want to come from too flat up to your note. And if you're sharp, bring it flat and then raise it up. Did that make sense what I just said?
Yeah, but I have a question.
Yeah.
When you're doing the plucking thing,
Yep.
the thing that it's my understanding that I still wait for it to settle. Like you don't go with the highest. You go with after it settles.
Let me see.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, let me see if I can. That's not working very well, is it? Okay, let's see how I can do this.
I mean, my question is just, do you do it when it first plucks, or do you wait for it to settle down?
Let me show you how I do it rather than tell you. Or at least that was my plan, but this is failing. Yep, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to show that properly, sorry. Let's see, how can I hold this up? Nope, this is not going to work, is it? I had these grand plans of showing you with the tuner on my phone, but it's not going to work. So I'll just explain it as I'm doing. Oh, and my mom is here. Let me let her in. Okay, so I have my tuner app up, whatever your tuner app is, or if you have a little tuner. I really like those little clip-on tuners, by the way. They're really great. And just make it a lot easier. So I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to pluck, and I see that I'm a little flat. And I'm going to keep plucking at this speed. And when you're plucking at this kind of speed, you will see that it will go sort of, it'll stay in one spot on the tuning. Maybe we can do it like that. Oh, there you go. So now I'm just tuning it just a little bit slowly as I keep plucking. Until it gets there. Okay, so that's really how you want to do it, is you want to be plucking at that kind of speed. You don't want to sort of pluck and let it ring. You really want to be...
Okay, so you are not doing it when it calms down. You're doing it right at the center of that sound.
Exactly, right at the center of the sound. That's exactly what you're looking for. Because think about when you play your instrument, it's pretty rare that you're letting a string sit and ring for that long, right? So you want it to be the right note when you're really giving it the force that you would. Okay. Any questions on tuning? Did that make sense? Was that helpful? Always, I knocked over my light, but always make sure you're tuning, or at least checking your tuning before you are playing. Makes a huge difference. Okay. Let's play some music, shall we? Unless we've got other sort of basics questions we want to cover beforehand. I smudged it again. Let's see if that fixes it. Yep. Okay. So let me get up our sheet today. Here we go. Okay, this is one of my very favorite High Holy Day songs. I was going to put the A7 on here too, and I did not paste that over. Let me do that quickly for you. Find something with an A7 in it. Oh, I bet we've got it in our blues charts, actually. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over our chords quickly. Really focusing in on the minor chords here. So we've got our D minor chord, right? Which is really an F chord with that ring finger dropped in. Just some reminder where you want to be strumming right where the body meets the neck, right there. As a reminder, we want our fingertips to be coming in as close to perpendicular to the fretboard as we can. We really want to be sort of coming in straight so that the marks on your fingers end up just like that, right on the tips. And we want that thumb to be sort of hanging out across the top like this. Okay, that's our G minor chord. Let's go ahead and try our D minor chord. Everything shifts down a string. You'll notice that it's the same chord shape, except that ring finger shifts over one fret. Ring finger goes to the third fret instead of the second fret as they move from the D minor to the G minor. And that is, music theory-wise, because the E string on the ukulele is tuned half step flatter than the other strings. So everything gets compensated, which is why we have to push it up to do it the same. So let's just practice going back and forth between those, between our D minor and our G minor, until that feels pretty comfortable. Everything moves down a string, ring finger moves over a little bit. We've also, I don't think since Larry's been here, but we've talked quite a bit about the position of the ukulele, right? In that we don't want that ukulele parallel to our body. We do not want it that way. We really want it coming off at an angle. And for certain chords, moving the head back and forth and changing the angle, and really changing the angle of this wrist is what happens, changes how easy it is to play a chord. So for instance, play that G minor chord, and then push it out and play the D minor chord, and bring it in for the G minor. You don't have to literally do that, but I think you may find that it moves your wrist angle to the angle that it should be in. Where for the G minor, or for the D minor, it's back here, going pretty straight in, and for the G minor, you want a little bit of an angle on that wrist, the wrist break. Does that make sense what I just said? Okay, let's go back here. Okay, so again, really one of my very favorite songs from the High Holy Days. This is in addition for the prayer for peace that only gets added during the High Holy Days and during the 10 days between the holidays. B'Sefer Chaim, so it's the real image of the holidays, the book of life. B'Sefer Chaim, bracha, v'shalom, ufarnas hatova. May we have blessings, may we have peace, and may we have a good living. like parnasa is money, actually, like a good income, a good stable living, like that. Nizacher v'niketev lifanecha, may we be remembered and may we be written before you. Us, anachnu v'chol amcha beit Yisrael, us and all of the people of Israel, l'chaim tovim u'l'shalom, for life, for a good life, and for peace. Always kind of feels like the core blessing to me of the High Holy Days, actually, like the core prayer for this year, right? May we be blessed, may we have peace, may we have enough of physical sustenance, may we be remembered, may we be written for this goodness, us and everyone around us, for life, for good life, and for peace. This is also the lullaby that I have sung my twins every night. It's a special song in our house. Goes like this. And this is in 3/4 times, so remember you gotta get your head counting to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'll play through it, feel free to join me, and then we'll take it apart and learn it together. B'sefer Chaim, B'sefer Chaim, Baracha v'shalom u'fanasa tova. And I forgot to write in a chord there. Let me do that. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so that first part again. B'sefer Chaim, B'sefer Chaim. Second line. Baracha v'shalom u'fanasa tova. So those are the first 2 lines. Let's try that together. So get that D minor going, and let's find a groove. It really helps to count it in your head. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you're having trouble finding your speed, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Where you're really focusing on the downs being the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Right? And then we want to get that 1 to be louder than the other ones. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We'll slow it down just a little. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. Here we go now. B'sefer Chaim, B'sefer Chaim, G minor, Bara A7, G minor A7. So let's work on that chord change right there. So go ahead and play a G minor. And this whole thing is going to exist with our index finger. Our index finger is the moving, right? So actually all that's going to happen is that index finger is going to move up 1, 2 strings here. That's all that's happening, right? We're moving up 2 strings and we're lifting everything else off. It's going to move back down. So just practice that with me. D minor A, or G minor A7, G minor A7, G minor A7. How is that transition? Just a quick show of thumbs. How does that feel for us? Pretty good? Okay, great. So it's pretty quick in that spot. From the top, here we go. B'sefer Chaim, B'sefer Chaim, G minor, Ba A7, G minor A7, Ufanasa to D minor. Let's try that again. Here we go. D minor Chaim, D minor Chaim, G minor, 2 A7, back to G minor A7, Ufanasa to D minor. One more time and then we'll check in and see how that's going for you. D minor Chaim, B'Sefer Chai G minor, A7, G minor, A7, Ufarnasa Tova. Okay, show of hands, how did that feel? Those two lines? Or show of thumbs, I should say. Relatively good, some middling. Okay, great. I'm putting my finger up in front of the camera like you can see it instead of just my neck and my guitar. But okay, let's go to the next part. Very, very similar. I'm going to move myself. Let's see, how can I do that? Like that. Okay, so it goes like this. Nizachev Niketev Lifa G minor, D minor, G minor, back to D minor. So let me play through that and sing it. It might be easier. Don't try to play it with me. Just look at the words and pay attention to when I'm changing the chords. Nizachev Niketev Lifanecha, Lifanecha. Try that. Nizachev Niketev Lifanecha, Lifanecha. Let me put in some dots here. I think it'll make it easier to know how long we're at it. Okay, so Nizachev Niketev Lifanecha. Necha, lefa, okay, I hope it's not too confusing. You see these slashes that I put in this line right here? A slash is an extra beat, so 2 beats instead of 1. So if there's no slash, there's 1 beat. If there's a slash, you get it for a second beat. Let me just show you what I mean. So, Nizachev Niketev Lifanecha, Lifanecha. Did that make sense when you're looking at it? Any confusion around that? What I'm doing with that? Okay, great. So that'll hopefully give us a sense of timing there. So let's do that line together. So Nizachev Niketev Lifa G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor. Again, D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor. That D minor gets a second beat at the end as well, so let's go ahead and put that in. Okay, I think we've got all our slashes in for those bottom 2 lines. So let's go ahead and look at this. We'll play through it. Here we go. Nizachev Niketev Lifa G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor, D minor. Anachnu, G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, sorry, G minor, G minor, D minor. The last one I wrote wrong, sorry. The very last line is D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, A7, A7, D minor. Okay, I'm going to play through this, or we'll play through this 2 or 3 times in a row, just the second half of this, so that we can really get it. So let's get into that beat again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. D minor, D minor, G minor, D G minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, A7, A7, D minor. How'd that feel to us? Okay, let's play through it. Here we go. Nizachev and Niketev Lifa G minor, D minor, G minor, Ha Yisra, D minor, D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, V'chol Amcha Beit Yisra, D minor. Last line. L'chaim, l'chaim, G minor, D minor, A7, now D minor. How's that feel? Okay. Are we good without the chords? Can I take these chords away and put my hands over here so we can play the whole thing? Will that work? Any of these chords in particular that we want to have up there? A7 maybe? Is that helpful? Or any of these? Nope, we know these three. Okay, great. Here we go. Let's get into it. I'm going to play it. We'll play each part twice. The first time I will sing the chords. The second time I will sing the words. Try to play along with me. Here we go. D minor Chaim, B'Sefer Chai, G minor, A7, G minor, A7, Ufana Sato, D minor. Now that part again, just with words, not with chords. Here we go. B'Sefer Chaim, B'Sefer Chaim, Baracha, V'Shalom, Ufana Satova. Okay, let's go on. Here we go. This D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, A7, A7, D minor. Now we'll try playing those with the words. Here we go. Nizachev v'niketev lifanecha, lifanecha. Anachnu, 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 v'chol amcha beit Yisrael, l'chaim, l'chaim tovim, u'lishalom. Okay, checking in. Let's check in on that. How did that feel? Thoughts on that? Responses? Feel free to unmute yourself and let's hear what was hard, what was not hard.
You're recording this, Daniel?
This is being recorded, so it is available, exactly.
The slashes are very helpful.
Good, good, good. I'm glad.
I would say pronouncing the words and getting the timing right with the chord is a little, that's where the challenge is. So that you get, because you do anachnu, 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 like just getting that, not that line, but the ones before it, I think, are the hardest.
Yep, I get that. I'm
We do
changing.
that a couple times, just that line, maybe.
Yep, I am changing the formatting on those lines.
I kept getting my G minors and my D minors mixed up, and then I would realize partway through the line that I'm on the wrong note because I would try to change, and it's like, that doesn't sound right.
Sean, I'm 100% with you.
Okay, I'm hoping that what I just did will make this easier, but I'm, a little concerned that it's actually going to be more confusing. But we'll find out. You let me know. Okay, here is how it actually is supposed to look. So look at those bottom pieces, nizacher and anachnu, and then nizacher and l'chaim. So it's actually two different verses. So the first time through we do the top line, and the second time through we do the second line. Does that make sense?
Oh, I know Rabbi Daniel is just getting those words right. If we nizacher and v'nikatev, that's...
Oh, yeah, we can totally work on pronunciation here too, exactly.
Okay.
Yep, so it is, where my buttons go, there we go.
You got a haircut.
I got a haircut, it was desperately needed, yeah.
So young.
Yeah. Okay, so our words, nizacher, it's from the word zecher, meaning to remember, nizacher, v'nikatev, and that is the same word as kotev, like to write something, or the word we might know is a ketubah, right? A ketubah, a wedding contract. Remember that a bet and a vet are the same letter in Hebrew, so nikatev is the same as ketubah, that ba and the va. Lifanecha, before you. Anachnu means us. Anachnu. V'chol, and all. Amcha, the people, your people. Beit Yisrael. I think those are all the hard words. L'chaim, tovim, u'l'shalom. Nizacher v'nikatev lifanecha. Any words on there that feel harder or we want to go over again? Okay, let's try playing this again, shall we? There we go. Okay, let's do these bottom two chunks again, how they're supposed to be. So it goes like this. Nizacher v'nikatev lifanecha, and then the next nizacher v'nikatev lifanecha. Does that make sense? And then we would do B'Sefer Chaim again, and then we'd do the second two lines with those chords. Anachnu, v'chol amcha beis Yisrael, l'chaim, tovim u'l'shalom. Where B'Sefer Chaim is our chorus, and each of those is our two verses. Okay, any thoughts before we go ahead and try to play this whole thing through? Okay, here we go. Let's get into our groove. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. B'Sefer Chaim, B'Sefer Chaim, G minor, Ba A7, G minor A7, Ufanasa, Do D minor again. B'Sefer Chaim, B'Sefer Chaim, G minor, Ba A7, G minor A7, Ufanasa, Tova. Now let's do the first verse. Here we go. Nizacher v'nikatev lifa, G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor, D minor. Nizacher v'nikatev lifa, G minor, D minor, A7, A7, D minor. Back to the chorus. B'Sefer Chaim, B'Sefer Chaim, G minor, Baharai 7, Vishai 7, Ufanasa, To D minor. Now we'll do the second verse. Here we go. Starting on that D minor. Anachnu, a G minor, G minor, G minor, G minor, D minor, D minor, l'chaim, G minor, D minor, A7, D minor from the top. B'Sefer Chaim, B'Sefer Chaim, G minor, Baharai 7, G minor, A7, Ufanasa Tova. First verse. Nizachev Nikatev Lifa G minor, D minor, Lifanecha. D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, A7, A7, D minor. And then usually I'll do those last two lines with a yai-da-dai. So just yai-da-dai, yai-da-dai, G minor, D minor, G minor, G minor, D minor, D minor, D minor, G minor, D minor, A7, and D minor. Okay, here's a little one to file away that works both if you're having a little trouble with the chords and if you'd like to be fancy. So either way, or if you're having trouble with the chords, you can just say that you're trying to be fancy. So play an F, and in the middle of doing a strum, put that ring finger down. Or right after the strum, put it down. It's called a hammer-on. Are we able to do that? Show a thumbs real quick how that feels to us. So what you can do is anytime you've got a D minor in the song, you can start with an F and hammer it on. B'Sefer Chaim, B'Sefer Chaim, B'Haracha B'Shalom Ufanasa Tova. So you can really play with that to add some color here, right? Okay, thoughts on this song?
I have one question.
Yeah.
Can you put the words up for a sec? Getting that whole line in, B'chol Amcha Beit Yisrael. Can you just show us how?
Yep.
It's a little hard to tell where the chords switch for that.
Totally. Just watch here. I'm gonna mute you so we don't get. I got it. Anachnu, v'chol amcha beit Yisrael. Hold on, I can spread those out. I see the problem. Yes, I see how we can do this. Anachnu, v'chol. Nope, that's going to be too confusing, isn't it? Okay, is that too confusing how I wrote it with all those dashes there? I'm just trying to spread it out so the chords above are at the right spot, right? So the first line goes, Nizachev Nikatev Lifanecha, Lifanecha. And the second line would be, Anachnu, v'chol amcha beit Yisrael. Does that help, or is that confusing? That works? Just remember that lifanechai is one word, just real spread out. Okay, any other thoughts here? Any other comments, questions, anything on this? Okay, we got a few minutes left. Let's play something else, shall we? Do we want to work on our finger plucking, or is that maybe that's for a different day where we can start with that? I think we need some refreshers on that. Let's do
Johnny Be Good?
Oh, we can do Johnny Be Good. That works. Yep. Okay. So, I keep doing this to us, but we're going to keep doing it this way. Nope, that wasn't the button that I thought it would be. Also didn't do what I thought. That did. Okay. So, what we're really working on with Johnny Be Good is our feel of when these chords change and what they might be. So, just as a reminder, this is basically a blues song that we are dealing with, right? And in a blues song, there are only going to be 3 chords usually in a standard sort of 12-bar blues-ish song. We will have the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, right? 1, 4, 5. So we're going to play this in the key of C, as we've been doing. So the 1 chord is the C, the 4 chord is the F, right? C, D, E, F, and the 5 chord is the G. So we can play these as standard chords, or we can play them as, seventh chords, right? So we've got our C, or we've got our C7. We've got our F, or we've got our F7. And that F7 is actually the same shape as a G minor, just on the string above. Right? Here's our G minor, here's our F7. And then we've got our G, or our G7. Okay, let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to play these 7th chords. And we're really working on feeling the change, right? Here we go. Deep down Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens. F, stood a log cabin made of earth and wood. C, lived a country boy named Johnny Be Good. G, never learned to read or write so well. C, could play that guitar just like a ringing a bell. Stay on C. Go, go, Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go. F, go, Johnny, go. C, go, Johnny, go. G7, Johnny Be Good, and back to the C7. Carry his guitar in a gunny sack, sit beneath the tree on the railroad track. F, engineers would see him sitting in the shade. C, strumming with the rhythm that the drivers made. G, people passing by, they'd stop and say. C, oh my, that country boy could play. Oh, whoa, whoa, go, go, Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go. F, Johnny, go. Back to C. Go, Johnny, go. Turn it around to a G. Johnny Be Good. C. His mother told him someday you will be a man. You will be the leader of a big old band. F7. Many people coming from miles around. Back to C. Hear you play your music when the sun goes down. G7. Maybe someday your name will be in lights, singing Johnny Be Good tonight. That should have been a C. Go, go, Johnny, go. Still on C. Go, Johnny, go. Here comes F. Go, Johnny, go. Back to C. Go, Johnny, go. G7. Johnny Be Good. Back to C7. Are those the only words? I thought there were like 6 more verses to this song. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. Good session today. Worked on some chords we haven't worked on in a bit. I know we know those chords, the G minor and the D minor and the A7, but they're not chords we've been playing as much, and they're really important chords for us. Worked on some 3/4 time stuff. Worked on a High Holy Day song, and of course some Chuck Berry for our St. Louis pride here.
Our rocker. Rabbi Daniel, can I just say one thing before everybody signs off?
Please.
So I was in the locker room at my gym today, and somehow I don't know what I said to somebody. I was talking, and this person goes, "Oh, you go to CRC?" And then the person behind the corner goes, "Oh, you go to CRC?" There were like 5 people in the place. It was like a little CRC festival. Very
so
complimentary. Just wanted to pass that on. It was a nice feeling.